Hello and welcome to Michelle Holden Art, where using intuitive art journaling, we are discovering our authentic or true art one layer at a time. And this week, I've decided absolutely no other intention than to see where I can go just using the prompts. I plan to use them the whole way through, and I have gathered some tools. I've got my neutral. Of course, I use black and white. My mark making tools, my art tools, pastels, crayon for resist if, and I'm thinking of when my free course comes out, which is very, very soon, I will be offering a updated version of the art prompts. So don't forget, get the ones now, and then you'll get so much more once you sign up for the free course. Different pipes, circles, stencils, inks, makeup sponges for the stencils, numbers, and of course my favorite stencil there, corrugated cardboard, and I don't know where this came from. It was packing material, so I'm going to give this a try, hopefully. And that's it. So, besides my color shapers, my wax crayons, the China markers, my awl for scraping and scoring through, my craft brush for nice brush marks, and a very thin brush. And of course, a regular pencil if needed. So I am just going to explore, play, and discover. And you can watch me get inspired, create along with me, and I may or may not stop and add some narration to explain my thoughts, even though this is a non-thinking, intuitive art process. So let's get started. Well, hello and welcome again to Michelle Holden Art. And as you can see, I'm zooming in so we can have a really good view of what I'm doing. So that is my art journaling area. And here are the prompts that I first wrote out, and they are available as a PDF when you sign up for my email. Also, the self-reflection PDF, which will be included in a much more extensive intuitive art guide or whatever I call it. So, my first art prompt was dots. So I really wanted to use this stencil. And as I said, I'm not sure, it's the first time I'm using it. So it's a bunch of little circles, and that's okay. No matter how you interpret dots, that's what you're going to do. And you can choose to go back and forth, not using your art prompts as you'll observe here. And then I thought, well, okay, let's make some different dots. Let's keep going with this dot prompt. And of course, my favorite Stencil Girl dot stencil, which is I think it's a 5x5. And you go on to their stenciling under abstract, and I think it's organic dots or something like that. So I'm going with, like I said, it's mostly with the art prompts, but I do veer off and just listen to my own intuition and just respond to what's there. So the charcoal, I love getting that prompt because how it mixes with white, and I intend to really explore this over the summer when I'm off. You get these grays, and it scrubs the marks underneath, and you can leave them or not. You can use darker, larger pieces of charcoal, and it's really, really interesting. So stay tuned for that. Welcome. If you are here for the first time, this is what we do. It's all about intuitive art, intuitive art process and intuitive abstract art journaling. And I find the art prompts really help remove the thinking or even the overthinking. And it just kept me in the flow a lot better. And there's freedom. So there is no rules. You can use an art prompt for, 2 or 3 of them, then go back. And then if you find you're stalled, grab an art prompt again, and it just keeps you in that flow. So this is a scrapbooking piece, and I loved it because it was, of course, black and white. And you know that I love starting with black and white, and then I may come in with more colors or keep the palette simple and or monochromatic. So that's what happened with this page. I found that bringing in the opposite, the orange, like I love, just didn't go with the energy that was coming across. That's all a feeling thing. That's what I felt. And so this piece ends up getting covered quite a bit, but that's okay. And it took a while for me to get used to that. So allowing layers to get covered, veiled, but seeing and knowing that they're there still adds to the energy of your art journaling page. So I use this foam packing piece or wherever I found it, and going around your house and finding interesting things, package materials, kitchen, whatever it is, tools, can really make interesting marks. So China marker, my absolute favorite, and just going in and being spontaneous and free. And that again has taken me a long time, especially coming from a very representational, detailed, watercolor kind of art practice that I had before. And it's so freeing, this intuitive art journaling process. I hope you find it as freeing as I have. So it's interesting when I wanted to add black, so ended up too much black, but there's still enough blue in there. And then right away I responded, ooh, I'll come in with a stronger hue of the blue. And I end up doing that, but with this piece of collage. This is my absolute favorite blue, which is a combination, and you can see that I've cut out all the drying spots, but I still show it a little bit so you know that you're drying each layer so it doesn't blend, and the upper layer doesn't ruin what's underneath, and it's much better. So dabbing excess off. I am spraying with my eyeglass cleaner spray bottle because it's a nice fine mist. And I'm going to come in with some Cerulean blue. I'm going to come in later with the turquoise. And I'm just still experimenting. There's so much I want to learn about blue. And I've done a little research. And it is a much higher frequency color. Vibrational, if you want to say. And I notice that when I do neutrals and the earthy colors, they're very heavy, when blue has a whole different feel to it. In the comments below, what's your favorite? If you had to work with a monochromatic palette or a simple palette, what would you choose? I'm really loving the blue. So the turquoise and the other kind of blue, I forget what it's called. I will find it and put it in the description of the video, so don't worry. So you can replicate these colors. But a cool and a warm blue mixed together is so nice. Now I also love manganese blue from Golden, but it's a little pricey. I still have some, I'm running low, but I will be doing a refill of art supplies, paints especially. But I have lots right now, so we're good. So I decided that I like to put, for this time, I wanted to put the blue first and then the collage piece. Now I see that the page has moved down and you can't see it, but bear with me. I realize that and look through the camera and pull the art journal back up so you can see it. Okay, so I'm loving that upper right-hand corner of space, the calmness and contrast of things. So I'm drawing that. And then I discover, oh yeah, this beautiful transparent, done on deli wrap paper with just a stencil, and there I moved it up. So I apologize for the delay. Why I added those 3 black marks underneath is I always love some high contrast underneath the transparent layers because it really accentuates it. Now sometimes I sort of lose touch with my sequencing that I love. So that's why I always go back through my self-reflection PDF of the single pages or the multiples that I've done and go, oh yeah, that sequence worked really well, so I'm going to keep that in mind. And I'll even jot it down on a piece of card or an index card and keep it right there so I can, stay mostly close to it. But there's no hard rules in this. So just keep going. Over time, you will discover, and I have my favorite marks, my favorite tools, and then going and using them more and just seeing and expanding on all the things they can do. So you can see that I'm playing around, and it ends up that it must be too weighted on the left side. So I really need to counteract this big lower left blue with some blue up there, but it's still very airy because of its transparency, and I love how it melts. And it does balance it out. So it's all a feel thing. And when you spin out of your intuitive mode that you're in, you'll find that you'll go, oh, that's why that worked. And then you might want to jot those key points down, and then you process it more, and it becomes part of your repertoire, part of your process. So, looking at this now, very interesting. And my prompt was scratchy lines. So I thought of my craft brush that leaves the dry, scratchy lines. Then, of course, I didn't really want it to cover that. So I just used my damp J-cloth and removed most of it. Not worried about it being perfect. But a little overlapping with the blue would have looked cool. This was some more pattern, and it didn't end up feeling right. So I thought, okay, what do I usually do? If I'm not sure about a layer, I'm not liking it, well, I'm going to push it back with a very thin veil of either white, more blue, maybe even black would have worked. So this is, I think that's a piece of tracing paper, not deli paper. As you can see, it's more opaque. And you might want to, why I've chosen this sketch pad or of watercolor paper, which is 140 pound, and so I can spin it around. And what's missing, I had a feel, it's like, oh, I really want some high contrast. So I left using the art prompts and put in what I felt, just following my intuition, your gut, whatever you want to call it, to add that contrast. And now it's ending up more vertical. I wanted to continue that, and I know it's out of the camera right now, but I do move it up in the next few moments, and I really extend those rhombuses or whatever shapes, and there's the whole page. And you can see that collage in the lower left, which is really further back now, but it's really interesting. That would have looked really interesting right across the bottom now that I think about it. So I'm also going to make a note of that. And I wanted to repeat these circles, but in white as another layer over. And then I'm going to echo white circles at the top because that little section up there, but I'm going to stop at that vertical line of the rhombuses. And you can pick up a line, an area, an edge, whatever you want to call it, vertically or horizontally. And now you can see that the composition, which I don't even think about, it just seems to happen, evolves. And now it's turned into less of a quadrant, less of an overall, into a horizontal composition. And then another thing that I discovered that I love is when I have a piece of collage, I love, with stamps, I like to echo them in paint across or in another area or wherever they might belong is sort of really cool. Now these are, again, my water-soluble pastels. And then I'm just using this damp brush to cool off, and you would call this a glazing layer. So there's many ways to create a glazing area, and it is really great for adding cohesion in your piece. You could do the entire piece, cooling it down, warming it up. But I didn't want to totally cover that lower left-hand collage that's underneath. So this collage piece is left over from some other work that I was doing, and it's just an old book page, and you'll see that I move this up. Good. At least I remembered to do it before I started putting in the collage. And it's made from a fresh pencil, the eraser end, dipped in the white, and then I'm going to do the same by extending the black. Even though I got blue in it, it was rather messy, but it's sort of cool. And then I realize, after scoring through, that I would, let's try the little brayer, and then, let's just take that whole black dark base that I love to do because it gives it that nice base or weight at the bottom. Now I'm liking this position of this page. It's feeling great. And then I'm just going to keep going with this. And I don't worry about the edges because I've taped them off this time. So it's a 9 by 12 and I tape off an 8 by 10. And as you can see, the eraser really makes interesting circles with an edge, and it sort of fills it in. And each one is unique. So the last, we're coming to the end. So the last piece is, and tearing your collage. I hope a lot of you are tearing your collage as well as cutting it. And I knew I needed to combine a light, a blue, and a black piece. As you can see, that helps the horizontal direction of that section. And I do one more thing with that black mark on that collage. I thought, yes, because that's how I made it on the collage piece. Now I'm going to just extend it using the brayer and a little dab of paint, and it's the surprise of the shape, and it's usually a really cool organic shape. Then I thought, okay, I wanted to use those numbers, so let's put them on the top. We'll use that craft brush And it leaves a nice crisp line as long as it's really dry. I thought that might fit, but no, it's just too much. And when I start fiddling around and looking for pieces that don't fit, I basically know we're at the end. And I love to put in the pen. The white isn't working for some reason, but the blue line, they're very fine. And it's a metallic, so it's just enough. And of course, I'm going to finish with a little, try what my large Posca paint pen might do, but I didn't want to overdo those dots because I can sometimes do that. So that's really cool. So gather your markers, and even if you put something in like this, which is very strong and overpowered, it just leaves a nice sort of stain there. As long as I felt I removed it enough. And then I'm just going to finish up with a little sprinkle, making sure there's enough water and paint on my brush. So we're basically at the end. I'm drying all the layers now, and now I'm removing the tape. So it has been very freeing. I think that's the word. Using the art prompts, partially, entirely, when you get stuck, when you find you're slowing down and not responding, and remembering to use the X-Acto knife so your collage that's at the edge doesn't tear. And it even looks great that way. So which way did you like? Horizontal or vertical? I'm thinking it looks very interesting that way. Not sure. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm finishing up with my dash lines. Don't forget to get your free resources. It's in the description below the video. And I will be showing you a close-up. So I will see you in the next one.